address could be in Houston. Woj reporting the Rockets want to acquire Butler in a sign-and-trade deal when free agency starts on Sunday. The Rockets don't have enough cap space to outright sign him, so any deal would likely have to include some combination of Clint Capella, P.J. Tucker, Eric Gordon. We are joined by NBA FS1 analyst Chris Broussard. Chris, so many dynamic personalities already on the Rockets. Do you think Jimmy Butler would fit in Houston?
No, this is foolishness. Unless Chris Paul was the guy traded, which I don't see happening. And even then, I have my doubts. It would be a similar situation to what you have now with Chris Paul. But here's the deal. As long as Mike D'Antoni's the coach and going to play how he plays, which is one dominant ball handler doing everything. It was the same with Steve Nash. He was more of a passer than Harden, but he dominated the ball. Jeremy Lin, when his little 2 months of great success, dominated the ball. This is how Mike D'Antoni coaches, and I don't think he's confrontational enough to go to James Harden and be like, look, we got to change some things up. So I think they're essentially going to play the same way. And Jimmy Butler is not a spot-up three-point shooter. He shot 34% from three last year. He shoots that for his career.
I thought he shot 39% last year on catch-and-shoot three.
Maybe catch-and-shoot, but overall he was 34% from three. And he only attempted fewer than three a game. So you're not going to just put him at the three-point line and say, Jimmy, do your thing. Because he's not going to be the Jimmy Butler we all know and love, and that's a very good player. He's going to be neutered to some degree. If you brought in a more traditional coach who was going to put Chris Paul at the 1, James Harden at the 2, Jimmy Butler at the 3, and play, a different style, then it might make some sense. But look, this is typical Daryl Moore. He's a good GM, but he's overrated. People think he's the best thing in the NBA. He goes after big names regardless of chemistry, regardless of fit, regardless of any of the human element. He never takes any of that. Thank you. Chris Paul, I don't remember how you guys felt about Chris Paul, but most people were like, how's this going to work?
We felt that way because Skip and I was like, how are they going to play together when they both need the ball?
And you see now. Now, that said, if I'm Houston, I'm for the most part standing pat. And I may make a tweak here or there, try to get D'Antoni to tweak the offense a little bit, but only Golden State beat you. And they're not going to be the same, so run it back. We've seen the Detroit Pistons of Isaiah Thomas, Michael Jordan's Bulls. Teams have often had to take their lumps before they get to the championship. So this is typical overreaction from Daryl Morey.
Anyway, you heard me. I said this. Go ahead, Skip.
Did you just get a transcript of the show?
I told you, I don't watch, so I
just because it's his birthday today, you just said everything?
Birthday. Yeah,
Oh, you're the only man.
That was my birthday present.
You're the only person in the known world who didn't know that it's his birthday. Because you've announced it everywhere.
I did?
Yeah.
Oh, today my birthday?
Oh, yeah. So it's my turn?
Your turn.
I love you, Chris Broussard, but I cannot tell you how much I disagreed with every point you made. And that's a first, because usually I give you like, that was pretty good. Not today, because it's not your birthday today. They are stuck with Chris Paul. They are not going to trade that $40-odd million contract. You're just not. And they are stuck with a guy who at times last year, to me, looked like a shell of his New Orleans self, that guy who could just dominate at about 6 feet tall in his first couple of years in the league. He is, to me, over the hill, just slightly over it, but he's over it, and he has lost a step. So now you say, run it back. It's going to be the same song, third, fourth verse, and it's not going to end well because it's pretty clear these two are do not invitems anymore. And I'm not sure you can just roll the ball back out there and say, you guys just figure it out because there's no Kevin Durant. Just go figure it out because we still got Capella and we still got Eric Gordon and we still got a chance. Maybe we can figure it out this time and muddle through and make it work because it's so open door winnable this year. To me, Jimmy Butler is just what the doctor ordered for this team right now. And as I told Shannon, it might be Dr. Freud or Dr. Phil or somebody, but they need some doctor in the house. Maybe.
You a quack.
Okay. Jimmy Butler is his own man.
Yes.
And he is a leader for better or for worse. And if you put him with a bunch of young Timberwolves, it's for worse because he's just going to run them all out of the locker room because he's not going to put up with their babiness, you know, their childishness, and they're not going to like it when he pushes back on them. And they rebelled against Jimmy Butler. In this case, you have two veteran stars. One's a superstar. One's I don't know if Chris was ever a superstar. I'm not sure about that, but he's a star.
Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer. And you got a guy who's going to walk in the locker room and say, enough of that, and who will get in both their faces and become the leader this team does not have. Chris could have been the leader in his younger days, but he can't back it up on the floor anymore. D'Antoni is the opposite of a leader. I don't know. When I listen to his sideline huddles, when they show the snippets on TV, it's just like that. Nobody's listening. Everybody's looking down at their shoes, you know. We got to get a stop, guys. We got to get a stop. Come on. Really? I mean, it reminds me of Guy V. Lewis, who used to be the university coach, and he was they just said he just rolled the ball out of practice and just said, you guys do it. Just dunk it. Dunk the damn ball. That's what he used to say. Just dunk the damn thing, right? Okay, so he's not going to be a leader, but Jimmy Butler would be a catalyst here. He would shake it up. And this team doesn't have, to me, a closer. And I'm talking about on defense or offense, and he can be that guy. He is not afraid to take and make big shots. And he is definitely not afraid to take whoever's on the other team that needs to get stopped in the last 4 or 5 minutes and take him on and maybe take him out. They don't have that guy. They don't have that intangible in their midst.
Tuck's not a bag. I mean, PJ Tuck, he's not the offensive player, but he's every bit. He'll battle.
Right.
He will battle, but there's something about Jimmy Butler. He'll make the play on the guy, the block, more like Iguodala plays at 6'7" and long. And the one cherry on top I forgot to throw in the opening block of this show, he grew up in the Houston area. Tom Ball, it's a suburb of Houston. So you're kind of, he would feel better about coming home, and the fans would feel better about, oh, we got one of ours back.
Yeah,
so you've
but
even got that.
everybody doesn't want to be at home. I don't know if Jimmy does or not, but look, I think you're right about his personality, but I think it'd be World War III in that locker room.
Okay, but maybe that would clear the air.
It might have to be a fight in training.
Okay, we talked about this to open this show. I said it might come to a knockdown, drag out. Literally, punches might get thrown.
But then whoever loses is going to feel like it's going to go in the shell, I would think.
You can't beat me. We got to fight every day till I win. Or one of us got to get up out of it.
So there's more job. So it won't work. So
Chris,
fight won't help.
If you run it back, it's going to fester. It's going to start to rear its head a little bit, and then it's just going to explode again between Chris and.
I'm on record as saying they're going to be the Phoenix Suns or the Sacramento Kings. You know, where they get close, but they're never quite good enough to win.
Oh, back in the old days.
I agree with you that they're not. I don't think they'd win it, but I wouldn't make a wholesale change like that.
But Skip, I'm looking at you. You said, okay, it's hard for me to fathom a scenario where you got two guys bickering and you bring a third guy in there and it makes it better.
Right.
It's not going to make it any better.
You need a peacemaker.
He ain't no peacemaker.
You need a referee.
He won't be a peacemaker,
I know, but sometimes it needs to explode in training camp and get it out of the way. I've seen situations where they got it over with in training camp and all of a sudden they made peace with each other. And if they do start to have conflict during a game, this is the guy who just jumps in the middle and says,
but I don't think he does that. I don't think he just, for the greater good, hey, guys, come on. I think he stirs it up just like Chris Paul stirs it up.
Yeah, I don't know what he do that at.
I don't like the run it back recipe next year. I just don't like it. And you have a chance to go win it all. You have the pieces. Now, again, we're going back and forth about who would have to get traded. They have to keep Capella to me in this mix. And
but
you say
they're talking about him being involved in it.
But there are three, the ESPN report is 2 have to go. If Eric Gordon and PJ go, I'm okay with that. I still think you need somebody to do the windows, do the dirty work.
I agree with you on that. I would first of all, if I'm Houston, I want to keep Capella. If I'm Philadelphia, I don't want Capella.
You don't need
because
Capella.
I've got Embiid and I got Simmons down there too. I would want Eric Gordon. For Philadelphia, look, Eric Gordon and P.J. Tucker, and then maybe you bring back Tobias Harris because they need shooting.
Right.
I think that would be really good for them. And try to get a third team involved. Tell Houston, go get a third team where we can get a point guard.
Okay.
And it don't have to be a great one, a Darren Collison or something. You know, just somebody that is a good point guard that can run the offense if I need him to.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I don't like Jimmy Butler in Houston, given their circumstances. I think they're good enough with Golden State crippled as they are. Pardon the pun, but this is their opportunity, Skip. This is their opportunity. If Daryl Morey has assembled a team as great as he thinks he has, and as he's told us every opportunity to stick a mic in front of him, stand pat.
Now that we've got that all sorted out for this morning, Chris, will you stick around?
Yes.
I'd love to have you back in a segment or two. He's going to be back a little bit later in the show, but right now, we have an extremely special guest.
Legendary.
Ice Cube is here.
Yeah.
He's going to give us his take on all the latest drama.
I'm good, bro.
Good man. How you feel? Good to see you.
Please
The Raiders
don't talk
still
about his
tear up
birthday
Skip.
anymore.
How you feel, man?